Alrighty, welcome back to episode 10.
10.
Of Definitely Random.
Sweating my balls off.
Sweating my balls off. It's a little stuffy here in the meeting room today. They seem to turn off the AC. Forgot to pay the electricity bill, so we're a little sweaty. Eric's glistening over there like Edward.
Yeah.
So don't fall in love with him. But welcome back. Hope everyone's had a good week so far. I have had a great week so far. It's been not that bad. Did some training today. New coworker today. New stuff. But we're ready. I'm ready to do this. Other than it being hot, it kind of sucks. And it's hot in here. It's hot out there. I was telling you this earlier. It's a weird type of hot right now.
Yeah, it was super dry out there. Like it's just.
It's like an oven. That's the best way to describe it. Like
it feels like an oven.
It's just like hot, and the wind is hot. And you know when you first open the oven, you've had it on, and that wave of hot hits you.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but just like all the time around you. That's how it feels. And it's not like normal hot, you know. No. Some normal hot's okay. I prefer normal hot. This is weird hot. I don't know. I'm not a fucking weatherman or nothing, but anyway, it's been hot, but I've had a good week so far. Hope everyone's having the same type of week. Today, what we got going on today, Erica?
Today we are going to talk about, how can I word it? Like great warriors of history.
Yeah. Great warriors of history.
Of what they've done. Just about them, I guess.
I kind of told him the idea last week because I saw, again, TikTok, back adding another
TikTok reference.
Saw TikTok, and they did talk about this one guy, and I was like, dang. And it was kind of cool. And so I picked two. One of them was fucking... Jesus, his fucking history was insane. Mm-hmm. It's too much. It's too much history.
Yeah, for a lot of these, like we can, like each person can be their own episode. Yeah. So I mean, just I guess for the sake of time, we're kind of just talking about them. Yeah. We're not deep diving into like their birth all the way to their death and every little thing.
I'm gonna give some highlights on my first one.
Just highlights. Basically.
On my first one, there's actually not too much on him, but I wouldn't even put him at the greatest warrior in terms of maybe what he did. But I think just his story was super badass. And I was like, he's built different, in his own way. Yeah. But we'll get to that, obviously. We'll get to that. The second guy, cool guy. I tried to not go for some mainstream ones. Yeah, I had a couple. I was going to go for, I don't know who picked. He doesn't know who I picked. I was going to pick Leonidas because I love
everybody knows Leonidas.
I love 300.
Everybody knows Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Those are whatever.
Attila the Hun. Yeah,
right.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah. So I was trying to stray away and differ.
Yeah, that's what I try to do too. Mine, I'd never heard about them until like I'd seen them. Like I actually did some research. Yeah. And again, just doing some quick highlights. Cool.
Well, then I guess we'll jump right in. And you can go first, I guess.
You go first.
You're excited. Eric has all this research, and I don't.
Nah, but like I
don't have all this research.
Well, you go first because I want to make sure because mine's like a little history of them and stuff.
Okay, let me do my first one.
Yeah, I want to see how you did yours because.
Well, this is my first one. That's not. There's not too much known about him because it was a long time ago. So there's not too much known about him, and like I said, he's not. He's great in his own way. When you think of great warriors, I think of like accolades, or if you're thinking violent, like amount of kills, maybe like he's killed thousands, he's won millions of duels or whatever the hell. He's not that guy, but what he's known for is pretty cool. And I've never heard of him, so I thought it was cool. Okay, so my first one that I chose was Galvarino.
Galvarino. Okay.
Galvarino. He was a Chilean, or I guess he was in Indian. This was in like 1590. There wasn't too much. I'm trying to think of when he died. I don't think it said a year. But it was around like the 1550s to the 1600s, somewhere in there. Yeah. There was the war of the Spaniards and the Mapuche against the Spaniards and the Mapuche, which the Mapuche are Chilean Native Americans from Chile, so South America, right? And so there was the war. I think the war started in 1557, but it doesn't say when he was born, and it doesn't really say exactly what point in the war, like what year he fought. I think it was shortly after 1557. Another thing is this war lasted over a century.
Dang. Which
is props to the Indians, the Native Americans, sorry, because the fact that they lasted that long, in most histories, I feel like they were wiped pretty fast, relatively quick. Disease and just their weaponry wasn't as advanced and whatever their skills. I don't know. I think these guys had just like fucking millions of people. Just they had the bodies to spare. So anyway, the Galvarino, he's a Mapuche Native American, which is around Chile, right? And this was during the Araucua War. I'm butchering these names, so I apologize. But he was taken. So in the war, he was a soldier, right? He was just like a regular, soldier. He was taken in the Battle of Lagunias.
Taken as prisoner?
Huh?
Taken as prisoner?
Taken as prisoner.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was fighting, taken as prisoner. So all the people, or all the Native Americans taken as prisoner, were getting their hand chopped off and their nose chopped off. And then they were going to be sent back out as like a message, like from the Spaniards, like
mess with us.
We're gonna, like either what's the word, surrender, or we're gonna kill you. But this is our message. But for the leaders, like the leaders of, I guess, their certain platoons or I don't know, whatever, they were chopping off both hands. So this dude got both hands chopped off. So now he's handless. He's the handless Indian.
Okay.
Native American. So then he got released, right? They go back, and so the Spaniards tell him, go tell your people to surrender, basically. So he goes back and tells them, nah, fuck that noise. We got to go back, and we're going to revolt, and we're going to fight them. Basically what he said, different words. And it kind of reminded me, his speech that he was giving, kind of reminded me of, I don't know if anyone's ever seen Attack on Titan, and that one scene where Captain, whatever the fuck his name is, tells all the dudes to go charge at the Titans and that they're going to die anyway. It's kind of what he said. So he goes back to his government or whatever, tells them, hey, we need to attack. Like,
we have nothing to lose.
Yeah, like these Spaniards, they're just coming to kill us, and we need to fight back. So they agree. They're like, yeah, whatever, we need to fight back. So what they do is they promote him to leader of, I guess, a platoon or infantry or an army or whatever. Now he's in charge of more men, right? A mass of men. And it doesn't say in numbers, but based on my info that I'll say in a bit, I think he took a few thousand. I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd probably say 8,000 or 6,000 or some shit like that to go fight, right? And so what he does is, since they cut off his hands, he obviously can't wield a weapon or throw fucking punches. So what they do is they tie knives to his hand.
Dang.
Yeah. So some say knives. There was other stories that say swords. So
either some type of blade.
I think in the middle, I think it was like a dagger, bigger than a knife, but not so much a sword.
Yeah.
I think so. A dagger. About. Right.
Yeah.
So they tied daggers to his fist, and I'll send you a picture so you guys can see it. You can put it up. But this is what he looked like, and before I show you, right? So, so they tied daggers to his wrists, right? And so some of them, he's kind of known, I guess, to some, or the myth or what they say is as the real life Wolverine. So this is what he looked. This is just cool. An animated. Obviously, they don't have real pictures, but this is an animated.
That'd be pretty cool if he looked like that. I'd be kind of scared.
Yeah, this is a more realistic, but still
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so this guy's got daggers, right? And so he goes. They charge into battle, and he's fighting. I believe it was the governor of the Spaniards, which is the leader, and I think his name was Gomez or Gonzalez or I don't know, some shit like that. So they're fighting, and they start good. They didn't end well. They get defeated, basically.
Right.
So 3,000 are killed. And
3,000
Native Americans
are
killed. and like a few hundred are taken hostage, and he's again taken hostage, like again. And he wasn't able to kill the leader, which is the governor. I believe they call him governor, but he killed like the second in command. So he got to kill the second. And his battle speech before they like, I guess, rushed into battle was kind of what he told the government, like either we fight now and die, or we let the Christians come and kill us. There's no retreat. If you retreat, we're gonna kill you. So, like, no retreat. You know, we're gonna go fight. So everyone's gonna go fight. So that was apparently his speech. And then he said, "You don't want to end up like me, no hands, where you can't eat and you can't fight. So, you know, go before like it happens to you, before they come in and whatever." And so they go into battle again. 3,000 are killed, a few hundred are taken hostage. And then that's where his story almost kind of ends, because he's taken hostage and they find him again, obviously. And they know this is him, like taken the first time. And they give him the option. You can either live and you kind of like submit to us. You become like a slave almost. Or I guess, yeah, slave. Or you die. And so he chose death. And he said something along the lines of, "I choose to die, and I'm sorry that I'm dying because you're not going to get to witness me kill you. And even if it's with no hands, I would kill you with my teeth." Something like that. So this guy went out with a fucking swing, bro. And then, so the way he died is one of two ways. Some say he was thrown to the dogs. So they just like tied him up. Let the dogs just fucking maul him. Or there was another account that said he was hung. There is not really confirmation on which one, other than the fact
I feel like they would have tortured him a little bit more, so I'm pretty sure it was the dogs.
I'm feeling it was the dogs.
The hanging would have been too easy.
Yeah. And especially since he got away the first time, came back, and then led. And then, I mean, that's fucking scary, though. Seeing a dude with fucking knives on his hand. Yeah,
just running, swinging like, at you.
Slashing, just running and slashing.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrifying.
You gotta run.
Legit. And imagine, here's what I imagine, right? You're a Spaniard, right? Frontline Spaniard, right? And you see, he's the leader, so I'm assuming he's in the front, right?
Yeah.
So you see this dude with fucking knives or daggers, whatever the fuck, running, and you're like, that's weird.
That's not right.
So you're there loading your musket, you shoot, you miss. So there you go again, but he's getting closer.
Yeah.
And you're sort of like, fuck. And it's too late, and then he starts slashing.
Yeah.
And I tried to look up, sorry if that's loud, just kidding, fucking, that's wild to me. I tried to look up how many he was able to kill. It doesn't have an account, but there was just a bloody mess.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But like, just
like nothing.
Just like nothing. And
you really don't really need to do much as long as somebody approaches you. Like I'm sure you got the reach for it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I would have just ran. I mean, there's no defending that.
Yeah, that's wild to me. But yeah, that was my first one. And there wasn't, like I said, there wasn't too much on the background of him.
So that happened in South America, you said, right?
Yeah, that was in Chile. And the battle between the Spaniards and those people, the Mapuche, like I said, lasted like a century. It said over a century. And they the Spaniards call it like the 80-year battle. Or the 80-year war or whatever. But I don't know. That shit's just wild to me. Because as it is, like Wolverine, the superhero, or what you want to call him, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Now imagine that guy running at you. That's...
And I'm sure he still has like... I don't know, just seeing that, like, starting off the battle, it's already scary. And then once, like, you're in the middle of it, he's covered in blood. I'm sure he had this like
fucking like rage in his eyes and just like revenge and vengeance.
He was a real life Wolverine, and like that's
and I bet scary. I mean the pictures portray what they think he looked like, but I can imagine he was ripped.
Yeah,
I bet he was fucking ripped. Just fucking a fucking.
I mean, back in that time, you're just eating all protein, nothing's processed.
Yeah,
you're hunting all day, you're lifting things all day. Like you're gonna be.
Those guys are built.
Yeah.
Well, most of them, but yeah, that was. I thought he was cool. That's something I've never heard of.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I never heard of that. What's his name?
Galvarino.
That's pretty cool.
That was a pretty cool one. So real life Wolverine was my first one. And I'll let you take it away with the second one. Oh, he's sleeping.
No, I'm not sleeping. It's just hot in here.
I tell you, it's just a little stuffy.
It's getting me tired. So both of mine are gonna be people from like BCE era.
So way back,
and like so this one specifically, this one was like in the where do I have it? Like in the 200 something BC era, probably even before that.
BC
really
before Christ, right?
Yes. I don't know what the E stands for.
Oh, it's BCE.
BCE. Yeah, I don't know what the E stands for, but AC is after Christ, and then BC is before. So this is before Jesus.
This is
what?
Before the Common Era is what BCE stands for. Let's see, BCE. BCE is before Common Era, is a secular version of BC. Okay, so I think it's the same.
Around the same, okay.
I was just curious. I know not relevant to what you're saying.
Okay, well, either way, I mean, he was born like late 100 BCE.
Oh, okay, so BC is just kind of directly referencing...
Like Christ?
Like Christ. And BCE is just referencing the general era.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then 80 is after Christ. And then after Christ... Oh, wait...
Well, this dude is almost walking with dinosaurs.
Oh, after Christ's birth is 80. Is that what you said?
No.
Well, that's what that was. And then CE is same thing, just more general. So there's like...
Why are there so many?
There's like a Christ version of time. And then there's like a regular version if you don't want to say the Christ version. I guess for the non-believers or...
Something?
Atheists or agnostics. Is that the one where you don't believe in anything? Agnostic?
I thought that was atheism.
No, that's where you deny the...
Well, if you don't believe in something, isn't it the same thing as denying?
Well, if you don't believe in it, you're not denying it, but you're not saying it exists. You're neutral. You're like Switzerland.
You're saying there could be, there couldn't be.
Yeah, it could be, there couldn't be. I can't prove it. You can't prove it.
Agnostic there's absolutely no way, zero way.
No, that's agnostic.
That's what I'm saying. Agnostic is that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a difference at that.
And then atheist is, I deny, like that does not exist. That's not true. And agnostic is like,
Oh, so
maybe,
yeah. Oh, so agnostic, there could be, couldn't be. Atheism, that's absolutely not.
Yeah, from my understanding. Anyway.
I didn't know that. No, completely sidetracked. Anyways,
Learn something new every day.
My guy, he was born in the late 100 something BCE. Couldn't find when he was born, like the specific time.
Right.
But his name is Hannibal Barca.
Hannibal Barca. And I might be kind of butchering his name. I don't know if it's exactly pronounced like that because he was born in Carthage, which is now known as Tunisia, which is like North Africa, like very North Africa. So I could be butchering his name. So was he African American, I would assume?
What do you mean?
He was,
Was he black?
Not African American, but he was
black.
Why does African American? Like he was an Africa. Yeah, was he black? I would assume so.
I wouldn't say African. I mean, he's African technically. But yeah, so there's some relating to that, and this I wasn't even going to talk about that, but now that you brought it up, during my research, apparently there's some debate because some people say like, oh, he was white, oh, he was brown, oh no, he was black. First of all, I don't know why he would be white. He's in North Africa, and I know there's white people in Africa, but you're in that time era.
I don't think that was colonization.
You're gonna be, yeah, there's some, but all that was like in the Middle East area, like that was going on. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Is your Middle East, Northern African or like Southern Italian stuff? Like you're not gonna be completely white. You're gonna have some melanin on you. You know, you're gonna be brown.
I think we can all agree he's just not white.
He's not white. He's some sort of brown.
Something, but not white.
Yeah.
Okay, let's agree with that.
But the main argument is he like brown or is he, what do you call it? Black. Yeah. So I mean, some scientists did some like DNA gathering of people in Tunisia now, and they kind of got an idea of what he might have looked like back in that time, and he is like a light brown.
Represent.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that was completely not...
Just a little history lesson as we learn.
So he was born in Carthage. His father was a general for the Carthage army. His name was Hamilcar. And so, I mean, growing up, his dad wasn't always around, but when he was, I mean, he had a big, he had a big influence over him, you know, learning.
Oh, okay, not same.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro, you're better than me. My bad.
We got daddy issues.
Yeah, we got a bunch of daddy issues in here.
Anyways, yeah, so from childhood, he was learning advanced military strategy from childhood all the way to being a young adult.
Right.
Advanced military strategies. And he was given a lot of education. So he's a really smart guy in multiple ways. And he was raised to hate Rome. Like, Carthage and Rome were always going at it. Rome had beef with everybody at this time. My second person that I talk about, he also had some beef with Rome as well. And he wasn't even that close to him. But
well, because Rome was like a fucking... They were trying to take over everyone.
Yeah, they're a big-ass empire, dude. Yeah.
Bunch of sister fuckers over there.
But yeah, so they had beef with them, and they absolutely hated Rome.
Typical.
So by the time he was 26, he was made a leader of Carthage's military. Mm-hmm. And he eventually made a name for himself. And Rome grew to fear him when he defeated Rome's partner at that time, which is, and I might butcher this name too, it's Saguntum. Yeah, it's like a country at that time, or area. I don't know.
Saguntum, but you're not...
Saguntum was pretty much like allies with Rome.
But wasn't that a city inside Sagandis?
You're stupid. I'm not really going to answer you.
Do you guys know what Sagandis is?
I'll put it on the screen. Anyways, yeah, so he defeated, as a young military leader, he defeated Saguntum. So Rome was like, oh, you know, maybe we should watch out for this guy.
Shit, this guy's for real,
Yeah, basically. And after he defeated them, that kind of basically started the Punic War, the Second Punic War.
Right.
And so really where this kicks off for him is when he decided to go to Rome and try to conquer them. So he got some war elephants from like India and North Africa. And he went all the way from Tunisia. He went left and then went up towards like Spain. Went around through what's like now France. He went through the mountains in France, like the Alps, and then made his way down to Italy. So he did like a one big old thing.
With the elephants.
With the elephants and all his military and everything. And then after that, his plan was because he was basically doing one big circle. So after Italy, his plan was to go back to Carthage, and like that was going to be it. His plan was a circle. But I took all the elephants and everything, which is crazy. Imagine the elephants being all suited up.
Why do people fuck with elephants so much?
I don't know.
Why can't they just leave them alone?
Well, at this time, I'm sure they're plentiful. Now they're not so much.
They're pretty plentiful.
At this time,
there's enough to go around.
They got something to spare.
Yeah, they got enough.
But imagine like these big ass elephants all suited up.
Right, like in Lord of the Rings.
They're cracked. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking cracked.
Yeah, so.
It was probably that guy in Lord of the Rings. That's who like fucking was.
The movie 300 when they fight the elephants.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that. So at that time, he finally made it, and this completely threw off Rome because elephants like this weren't known to them. So imagine...
Dude, there's some big-ass bitches.
There's these big-ass creatures. They're riding them. They're coming at us. I'm scared.
Right.
I can imagine, you know, all decked out in armor and everything.
Yeah. Bring out Galvarino, and he'll fucking tear him up, bro.
With his little Wolverine hands. So he approached Rome with them. They're all freaking out. They're like, what is this? We don't know what that is. They weren't expecting it. So they're all scared. And so that was the first like intimidation thing. But Hannibal didn't really get the idea of how big Rome actually was. And so once he got towards, I guess, to give you an idea, like he got to the city gates and he was like, oh, this place is huge. I can't conquer this on my own right now. So his plan was to do smart little things. And so he was outside of Rome in these smaller villages, and he got to know the people. And just slowly over time, he got them to hate their own government. He was turning the Roman people against their own government.
Oh, this guy's like fucking mind.
Yeah. Like I'm saying,
I can't take him physically, but I'll fuck him up.
Exactly. And
shit, this guy's smart.
Just to give you an idea, he was here for years.
I can tell. You said turn them against their own government. I was like, bro, that'll take a week. That takes a while.
He was there for a long time, and he got a lot of Romans to end up hating their own government and kind of.
So they knew he was approaching. I'm sure they saw his army.
Kind of. Well, I'm sure they got word of it, but like
they got word it was him, or maybe they got word of just like, oh, this mass group of something.
They're coming.
Is coming.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then he just resided to the villages, and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So like he had no beef with the villagers. He was chill with the villagers and everyone else. It was just Rome itself. He just wanted to take over, and if you happen to be standing in the way of that, then you're an enemy of his. But if you're just chilling like a civilian, you got no beef.
He's like, you're good.
Yeah, he ain't got no beef, which is pretty cool.
He's not an asshole.
From my understanding, I mean, obviously we don't know everything. He could have done some sketchy stuff. But basically, after he turned a lot of Roman citizens against their own government, he caused a lot of civil unrest throughout Italy. Mm-hmm. And so now Romans were like freaking out. They're like, oh, like, I mean, our own citizens don't back us. I mean, our soldiers are going to be next, whatever. So they're freaking out. And okay. So then he's doing that for a couple of years. And they have little battles here and there, whatever. He's winning, he's kicking ass. His bigger achievement was the Battle of Cannae, which at this point, Rome was very tired of having him there. He was like a thorn on their side, like he just pissing them off, doing little things, like winning small little battles. And so finally they decided, like, you know, we're much bigger than him. Let's just attack him. Let's have our forces overwhelm him. Yeah. And just end it all in one day. Let's just go at it. Let's just try it. And they were hoping their numbers and their size, like I said, would win. And it did not. Hannibal, again, he was so smart. He's been studying military tactics and everything since he was a child. And during all that time he was there, he was studying Roman strategies as well. So once he got word that, like, hey, the Romans are planning to attack you soon, he's like, okay, bet. And he got all his men, whatever, all his generals, and he planned for every possible scenario. So the day when they did attack, which is the Battle of Cannae,
carry out one of them.
He how can I say it? He embarrassed the Roman military like they never have before. Yeah. And he killed 80% of Rome's military force.
Their entire 80% of their entire force, or
and that's what I read.
80% of the force that went and attacked them.
I guess the force that went and attacked them. Okay. I'm sure Rome had different everywhere. Right. You know, different.
Because that would have been fucking wild. Yeah, exactly. If it was the entire Roman army?
No, okay, so... Well, I mean, you can imagine he brought his own large military, which, I mean, compared to Rome, it's smaller, but Rome wanted to throw everything at him. So I'm sure they threw most. Yeah, let's say if he had 1,000, I'm sure they sent 500,000 or something, you know, like, whatever. Either way, he killed 80% of the people that went to attack them, and they were completely embarrassed and scared. And like I said, he was there for... I mean, that was his biggest achievement, or his more known one from what I've read. Yeah. And Hannibal was in Italy for about 10 years. And he kept coming really close to taking over Rome and conquering them. But his main issue was his government back home in Carthage was pretty corrupt, and they just weren't really caring, and they weren't...
I was about to ask, where was, like, his dad, or where was all these guys?
Well, at this point, I think his dad was already really old or dead.
Oh, okay.
But... the government themselves, they weren't providing any support. They weren't giving him the troops he needed or supplies or resources. Yeah. And there's a lot of corruption in his government. So they just like, okay, whatever, I'm here for the money or the girls or whatever. So they weren't giving him what he needed. He kept coming close. But after all that time, Romans kind of got smart. Like, okay, let's do it this way. And they were able to kind of, everything that Hannibal had taken over, Rome had kind of pushed him back slowly until finally he had, like, you know, I have to surrender. Yeah. And so he surrendered, and once he surrendered, he went back home to Carthage, and he ran for office to try to bring some change. And he did a pretty good job, brought a lot of positive change to Carthage. But after I guess he got bored of it or something, I couldn't find anything to see why he left. But he left from Carthage to Greece to join their navy, and he became a commander in the Greek navy to fight against Romans.
He's like, bro, I'm going there one way or another.
It's always on site with this man.
With or without you guys, I'm fucking going to that bitch.
I'm gonna beat. I'm
fucking swinging, bro. Chris Breezy on fucking Rome, bro.
And so he joined the Greek navy, led them, won a lot of battles there, and then from here, I'm gonna butcher these names too. Actually, no, these aren't that bad. He went from Greece to Armenia to Crete, and then he finally ended in Bithynia. Which all of those he was in the Navy for to try to command them. But Bithynia was a little bit more known because what he would do, he would have the Navy vessels have these big old vases full of venomous snakes. And when they were close to the other ship, they'd throw them on there, and all these venomous snakes are running around or slithering around, biting people, causing mass panic, crashing and all that. And that was like the first recorded use of biological warfare.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, like
I didn't know that.
This dude had so much beef with the Romans. Like, he did not like Romans at all. any reason to fight them, who's going to fight
on site.
Them. Yeah,
it's
on site.
I don't even care who you're on site.
Exactly. He switched teams
just to go
4 times.
Just to keep attacking them. He got fired 4 different times, but he's like, I'm going to keep going, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's known as one of the greater military leaders, whatever, because of how smart he was, all his strategies and everything. And then eventually he died in a small Turkish village. A small village in Turkey. Oh, okay. So he wasn't taken out by the Romans.
Okay, I was good. I thought you were saying he died in a small like battle. I was like,
no, he just died of, I guess, like old age or sickness. I couldn't find why, but he died at the age of 65.
What was his name again?
Hannibal Barca.
I see him here. Hannibal Barca. Wild.
But yeah, so that was my guy. He's pretty cool.
That's wild.
Just the beef he had with Rome.
Your thing about snakes made me think of something unrelated. But have you heard in the Vietnam War of tunnel rats? This is just completely off topic, but
Vietnam War, when they were like infected and they'd just be getting bit, wouldn't they? They'd get all sick, or
kind of, not really though.
No.
So tunnel rat, I think, the Vietnam War. It was the Vietnamese had these tunnels in the ground, and they were like obviously underground, hidden tunnels, and they would go from like compound to compound, or just runaways, or like traps.
Oh, you meant like the humans being called tunnel rats?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant like actual rats, like biological warfare type stuff.
Oh no, okay, like the actual humans.
Yeah, called tunnel rats.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Vietnamese had these tunnels, human size, but like they were like super small.
Yeah, you had to be like crouching.
Like you were like this the whole time.
Just being enough for you to move through.
Yeah, and like even then, it's only like smaller men could fit.
Yeah.
Like us could not. We could not fit us. We could not fit, right? And so you brought up the snakes because during like while they were going through the tunnels, they would booby trap them a lot. And obviously the Americans or whoever would go down there to try to flush them out, the Vietnamese that is, or find them or whatever, right? But they would get like booby traps. So there was some booby traps where, it would be like a covered with leaves or something like that, something.
Or when they had like spikes.
Yeah, some with spikes on the ground. So some would be spikes on the ground. So when you like went through, you would just fall and get like prodded.
Yeah.
And then those spikes I read were covered or laced with like poison. So it would just go through you and just fucking die in misery.
I've seen some like in Japan during World War II where they would do the same type of thing, but they would poop in there and pee. So that when you get impaled, you die slowly and painfully of like infection and everything. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Asians during warfare, like they got dirty.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
The Vietnamese.
Another
Japanese.
one of the traps was kind of the same thing about falling in spikes, but it was kind of on the over your head, so like the roofs. Same thing. They would like cover with leaves, and then once I guess when you're squeezing through, I'm sure you're fucking hitting every wall and crevice. So what I imagine. So it would drop and it would just be like spiders or scorpions or snakes just fall on you, and then you just get fucking bit and you die.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro. And so I read that like 80% or something like that of all the soldiers who were tunnel rats died. So like 1 in every 20 survived or something like that.
Dang.
And I was like, that's fucking wild. And like that just sucks. Like if you're like claustrophobic and you're down there and it's
you
hot,
can't say no.
You can't. You have like a flashlight or I don't know. I mean, every step you take is like iffy.
Yeah, possible death.
Yeah, it's just like going through a field of mines or something, like landmines.
You can't say no. If you do, I'm sure they'll kill you.
Nah, I'll say no. Fuck it.
What's it called? Insubordination.
Yeah. I read this story. This is also unrelated. I'm just thinking of all these things now that I bring them up. Unrelated to what the heroes... Not a hero, what I'm about to say. But there used to be this American soldier who was a serial killer in Vietnam. And so he would kill like the local ladies in the village. And he would like rape and like mutilate them. But like...
He was a U.S. soldier?
Yeah, he was a U.S. soldier. Okay. He was a U.S. soldier. And while they would go through the villages, clear them out, he would like go rape the ladies and then just like cut their heads off or like torture them. I forgot his name, but I remember reading this a long time ago. And he was like after a while, they like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're always disappearing, or like, we noticed
and nobody caught on to him.
I don't fucking know, bro. I'm saying.
I'm sure some people had to have turned a blind eye.
I'd be like, that's just like wild. Anyway, I guess I don't
crazy.
know. I forget if it was just like hatred just because like they were at war.
Yeah.
Or he was like just.
I'm sure. Unfortunately, I'm sure that happens so much more
100%.
often than we like think, or especially back then when things were. Nowadays, I don't know because things are easier to report.
Right.
And there's cameras everywhere and stuff, and there's certain procedures. But like back then,
you get away with a lot.
Yeah.
That's wild. But yeah, sorry, sidetracked. I'm gonna try to hurry with my second one. This guy, cool guy, had so much shit. Because I want to hear yours. Eric did so much research. I want to give him the time to talk.
No, my second guy, it's just the one page. I'm gonna have to read off the book or the thing.
Just one page.
He
said. Yeah. So my second guy was during World War II. His name was Audie Murphy. This guy, now he has a badillion. He has every single military combat medal that the U.S. can offer, along with the French and Belgian Award for Heroism.
Dang.
This guy did everything. Now they had like fucking stories and stories. I just picked a few because we'll be here for...
That's a whole 3-part series.
Yeah, that's insane. So I just picked here a few. So this guy was born in 1925 from Texas. Kingston, Texas, actually, wherever the fuck that is. So born in Texas, joined the Army, which originally he joined because of Pearl Harbor. But he actually got turned down from the Army, the Navy, and the Marines because he was a small little bitch and he was underweight. But eventually, I think later he joined. Obviously,
got some steroids.
He Captain America that bitch, and he fucking anyway. So one of his first, and a lot of these he got like promoted. A lot of the stuff got him to promotions, which then led to, in turn, leading platoons, which then in turn leading to the next thing, which got him the award. So I just kind of went down the series of events. So the first time he got promoted was he got ambushed with him and 2 Americans, and he started his like military career as like an errand boy, a messenger. There was another one, just like these really small roles, like just here and there, kind of dumb roles. But those roles, in turn of doing, I guess, his job, he confronted conflict, which got him the promotion, which got him. So I think it was just a fortunate event, because like I said, he was a very small, petite guy.
So he just kept being lucky, in a sense?
In a sense. Lucky in the sense of he killed people, if you want to say that's lucky. So his first luck was in Salerno, which this was in, I want to say like France or Italy or something like that. And he was with him and 2 other Americans, and I think they were on their way to deliver like a message or something. And they got ambushed by just like a squad of Germans. So they killed like 5, took a couple prisoner. Then he got his first promotion. And then again, this was later like in France. He was holding down this, I don't even want to say a bunker, a post, maybe a post in the middle of nowhere. And he got ambushed again, killed 5 Germans, promotion. Right? And then, so the next one led him to, he was now upper there, lieutenant or something, right? So now he was leading like his own platoon, whatever fucking role he had in that. I don't know what the rankings are for military.
Like captain or something?
Yeah, he had something at this point. So he was leading a platoon, right? And they were kind of on the move going through, I think it was France still. Most of the time it was like in France, Belgium, northern Italy. So I guess as they were going through, they encountered, I guess there was storms. So they were held out in like a farmhouse for a few days. And along the way, I guess one of those days, a German tank was coming through. So it was like him and like 5 dudes. And they like attacked it, killed everyone, and then blew up the tank. And that got him the Bronze Star. So it's like real life Fury.
Yeah. I was just thinking that
except they weren't in the tank. They did it like on foot.
Yeah.
Right? And then his next one, he was Again, he was just like in the field. I think this one, they were kind of back and forth with Germans fighting, like from the lines, whatever they called them, like those trenches, I think. And a mortar like hit him on his ankle. So he got like on the ground, but the shrapnel fucked his ankle. You know what I mean?
I thought the mortar just came. Oh no, it was a dud. Hit him in the ankle.
Sprained it. No, it hit him. So he got injured, but they won that battle. So from that, he got the Purple Heart. So that was cool. I think that's a good one. And then his next one was he was at a machine gun post, and so he was defending the post, killed some Germans, took some prisoner, got the Silver Star. So it's just like little battles that he's in, right? And then after that, after that gun post or with a machine gun post, right, where he got the Silver Star, a few days later, his men were trying to take a hill, I guess where the German bunkers were, and so he was. What I'm guessing is invisible sight. I'm not too sure the terrain. It didn't explain like the terrain, but he was in somehow visible sight with those fucking big old radios like in the movies, and he was like talking to his men and talking to like the fucking mortar people, I guess. And so I guess basically telling them, you know, take that route, go this way, you know, send your mortars now. Pretty much directing everything. Yeah. But he was getting shot at. And so he was sending his men, I guess, through like a back, more hidden way. And so kind of like being the distraction.
To like save them?
To attack. Well, they were attacking.
To what's the word?
Like divert them? Like, yeah, counterattack, I guess.
There's another word for it. I forgot.
But
I'm spacing on it. But yeah, no, I get you.
You get me. So he's like directing them like, yeah, go. And he's kind of drawing their fire. And so eventually they were able to take the hill with like his direction or under his direction, I guess. And they took the hill, and it was like a big win or whatever. For that, he got this one I've never heard of, the Bronze Oak Leaf Cluster.
Oh, that's it?
Okay, Leprechaun.
I have one of those.
I have 3. So I think
I just went to the recruiting office and they gave it to me.
Yep. I think it's like an add-on. For real, I think it's like an add-on.
They give him DLC?
Yeah, legit. I think they give him DLCs. Like I think so. I think that one went on his his Silver Heart. Either the Silver Heart or the Bronze Star. Silver Star, or Bronze Star. One of those. So I think it's like a DLC they add to your already existing award. Like, oh yeah, you did it twice type thing. Or yeah. I think I'm not sure.
Dang, he prestige.
So, legit is what I was thinking.
The master prestige.
So then anyway, him and now his still platoon, he's getting, this whole time he's also still getting promoted. Right? So now he's taking his like platoon and they're on the move, and they had caught 2 Germans along the way. So they were taking them as prisoner along their way, and then they started getting gunned down by a sniper. So he got hit in the hip. It didn't say what side, but he got hit in the hip by the sniper. And somehow it didn't say like what weapon he used. I think it was an M1 Grand, because that was like his weapon they were kind of bringing up in his biography. Yeah. So it was just like that single fire, ping, 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 and it goes ding, ding. Yeah, that one. So I think that's what he used. He shot the back at the sniper and hit him between the eyes. Allegedly.
Damn.
Yeah, so that got him...
a 360 no-scope.
For a YY no-scope, across the map, hatchet throw ass. So that got him the Bronze Oak Leaf Cluster on his Purple Heart, because he was also wounded. Which then, from that same wound, he actually got gangrene.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he had to like be on the sidelines for like a week or something. But it took him like... He fought back, and then it took him like later. He got it like a few days later when they delivered the Germans and that they caught.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then his like, the last one is like his biggest one before he entered like retirement. Or I say retirement, he entered like a more office role. So him and his men were invading like a village that was on like a mountainside. It was a German controlled village, and they were like getting fucking bamboozled, and he was like, we can't do this, retreat, right? But as his men were retreating, he was like shooting back. He's like, I'll cover you, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't say how many men. I think double digits, 20, 30 men. I'm not too sure how big platoons are or whatnot.
I have no idea.
They bring a platoon a lot. So I'm thinking, 20, 30 men. I think it was a platoon here. So anyway, and this is, again, they bring up the M1 rifle. So he was shooting back, right? Shooting back. And as they were trying to advance, one of their tanks, this was before they retreated, as they were advancing, one of their tanks got hit by a German tank, and it was like on fire, dismounted. It was inoperable. Mm-hmm. So obviously, and then that's when they started retreating, blah, 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 right? So he was shooting back with his M1 Garand while everyone's retreating. He then mounts the tank that's inoperable and just jumps on like the 50 cal and just fucking boom, 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 boom. So apparently it says he was there for an hour on the tank. Well, I don't know how long it takes to retreat. Or maybe they were just like holding, I think they retreated and they were just kind of holding the line, right? So they don't like, I guess, lose sight of the village. I don't know military tactics. But he was holding it down with a 50 cal. He kills and wounds 50 Germans. Damn. Takes out the tank. And then he leads the assault back on the village. Takes over the village.
Like, never mind, guys.
Yeah, like, let's fucking keep going. And then took over the village. And for that, he got the Medal of Honor. Damn. And then after that, he was wounded. So then they had to, like, care for him. And then he got promoted, like, again. And then he got officer liaison role, which is like just like headquarters office job. So it was like, because he's been wounded. At this point, he's been wounded like 3-4 times.
Yeah, they're like, hey, bro, you gotta chill.
Yeah, they're like, hey, bro, you're done. And this is in the span of a few years for sure. It's
on the span of a week.
That was a Tuesday. All that I said, that was a Tuesday. But yeah, he got like I said, every military combat medal that the U.S. can give, he got every single one. I thought was insane.
Dang, that's really cool.
But it's also World War II. There's just fighting a bunch of plumbers and contractors. So, I mean, Chris Kyle could have fucking taken over. All he did in a few years, Chris Kyle could have done in a week. But it's whatever. Neither here nor there. But yeah, that was my last guy. He had much more. We could go on. I could have written more.
Right. Each like occurrence is like its own whole story.
Yeah, it was a whole story. I just gave you like the summary, and that already itself took longer than I thought. I was trying to give you the pinpoint summary of everything, but that shit was wild.
No, that's really cool. Dang, I never heard it. What was the name again?
Audie Murphy. I never heard of him either, and that's because I watch a lot of like military movies. I feel like I know a lot of, or especially World War II, maybe not older stuff like BC shit, but a lot of World War II, World War I.
Audie Murphy. I feel like they would have made a movie about him already or something.
I'm gonna make one.
You're gonna be him?
I'm gonna be him. I look like him. I am him. Anyway.
So a platoon consists of a few squads and up to a few dozen soldiers. So anywhere from, I guess, like 4 people to 30, maybe. I don't know.
Sounds about right.
More or less. I mean, I don't know exactly how much a squad consists of, but I'm thinking Call of Duty, 4 people.
There's 4 people. They dropped into Germany. Where's the loadout at?
Okay, yeah, so mine.
You were the second one. Last one.
Yeah. So this is going back to the BCE era as well. This is about 300 to 400 years after Hannibal Barca. So this guy, he's Middle Eastern, so I might butcher his name. It's Khalid Ibn Al-Walid. Yeah, mouthful.
That's a mouthful. That's a tongue twister.
Khalid Ibn Al-Walid. He is known as the Sword of God.
The Sword of God?
Yeah, that's what they nicknamed him.
And he was from where, I'm sorry?
I'm not sure.
Africa?
No. He's from the Middle East.
Oh, Middle East.
But I'm trying to think of what like area it is now. I want to say it's from like Iran. Like the area that he's from.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that. But anyways, yeah. So his nickname was the Sword of God. And he was an undefeated Muslim military leader. Undefeated. Man went 100 plus and 0. He won 100 battles against professional Persian and Roman armies.
This was BC though, right?
BC, yeah.
They're fighting with pebbles and stones. I could do that.
No, they got swords, spears, all that stuff.
Yeah, but if you put my boy
Leonidas or what?
Galvarino in there, brother. Galvarino wiping these dudes, bro.
What do you call it? So he won against professional Persians and Romans, meaning they're not farmers and ranchers. They're
trained.
Legitimately trained, yeah. So beat them all.
100
over 100 battles, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
undefeated. That's actually fucking impressive.
100 plus and 0. Anyways, yeah, so he was born in 583. Just crazy, just saying that number. Yeah. We're talking about someone born that long ago.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, again, just like Hannibal, he was taught from childhood how to like ride horses, camels, and how to be proficient with all kinds of weapons. So swords, spears, crossbows, bows and arrows, like everything. Yeah. Just because of the culture he was from. I forgot to write it down. But just that area, soldiers there were expected to learn how to ride horseback, camelback, and know every single weapon. Like if you pick something up off the ground,
you can use it.
You have to know how to use it. Kind of similar to like the Spartans. Mm-hmm. You know, they're proficient in everything they did. So similar, this guy's group, his culture and everything. And his first fight was against the Byzantines, and the Muslims were severely outnumbered, and there was 3 commanders in the battle against the Byzantines that were selected by a prophet, but all 3 of those died. And so there's a dude, what's his name? Tumblin, or I forgot to say it. Mm-hmm. He was an older, more experienced soldier, but even him, he picked up their flag and he took it to Khalid. And he was like, you know, you have to lead us now. He's like, no, like you do it. You're better than me. You're better than me. You're more experienced. He's like, no, you have to do it. And so did all the other soldiers around him. They're like, no, like we want you to do it. Which they had all their faith in him. He's like, okay, fine. I guess I'm going to do this.
I guess.
And there's reports of him fighting with, what do they call it? 9 swords. So he'd go fight once one would break, pick up another one, he kept going. He did,
break?
Yeah, he did that 9 times.
How do you break a sword?
He was him.
Dude.
So he was fighting all that he could, and then he kind of got smart. Like once there was a little like pause in the battle, he's like, okay, like we can't stay like this all day because the Byzantines severely outnumbered the Muslim army. So he's like, okay, how can I do this? So he repositioned the soldiers that he had left. He had moved some to the left, to the right, in specific formations to give the illusion that they had fresh reinforcements. And so the Byzantines are like, okay, well, like, where'd they come from? Like, let's hold off. Let's not go into this crazy. And so during all that, while they were backing off, he had small groups of people start retreating until like everybody was gone. So the Byzantine military is like, what the heck just happened? Like, they duped us. And so once he got back, that's when the prophet, like everybody told the prophet what happened. And the prophet's like, okay, well, now you're the sword of God. And so he kept that title. And it kept going. I mean, there's hundreds of battles. You know, I'm not going to go into every single thing. But
no, we're going over one right now.
His first battle.
His first battle taken in 386 BCE.
What do you call it? So yeah,
fucking audiobook.
So just doing that just showed off how good of a tactician he was, and just knowing how other militaries are gonna think in that time, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, after that he got promoted to like commander, and kept winning battles, and eventually one of his bigger achievements was conquering the Persian Empire. They worded it as his conquest of the Persian Empire of Iraq and his conquest of the Romans in Syria. So he beat both empires, the Persian Empire and the Roman Empire, that were settled in different areas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so like the Romans, they were in Syria. They had established stuff there.
He beat like their little colony there.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he beat the Persian establishment, I guess, and the Roman establishment all within 3 years. He was able to kick both empires out of those areas.
That's it? 3 years?
I mean, it's kind of impressive.
Taking his time, but all right.
And okay, what's next? So after all that, after so long of just winning and winning, all the soldiers started looking up to him instead of Allah, which is their God. And so the leader his name was Medina. He relieved him of his position as commander because he was fearing that the military was idolizing him
more than
Allah, which is, I mean, they're very religious, obviously. So they're like, no, we can't have that. You know, you're becoming too much of a symbol.
Yeah, too much of an influence.
So he knocked him down, kind of demoted him, I guess, just until they wore off, or like they stopped worshiping him essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's how he ended up staying, and he died at about 49 or 50 of sickness, and even nobody was able to kill him, and it was said in multiple accounts that all he wanted was a glorious death. He wanted somebody to be good enough to kill him.
Okay,
so he would try, and it was recorded, or there was records of every time they're like, let's say you had your army, I had mine. I'm Khalid. I'm like, give me your best person to come fight me, and he'd duel. Every single battle, he'd duel someone of the enemy,
and beat him,
and he just beat them, and he was always mad.
Fuck.
That they couldn't kill him. And then even on his deathbed, he told his friend that he's mad because, like a camel, he's just lying there waiting to die.
Oh, this guy.
He's like, no, it's a good thing because you're the sword of God. If you were to have died in battle, it would have showed that the sword of God's weapon could be broken, which now if you're dying like this...
Can't be.
It can't be. All those battles you won, all those... duels,
he left
everything.
A legacy.
Exactly. No one was ever able to beat him, and so it was a good thing. And so they're okay, cool.
He's like, you're right.
He accepted it more, and then he ended up dying. And one of his other friends, Medina, the one that had demoted him, they had become good friends, and he got very sad. It was reported that he kept crying for days because he didn't get a chance to promote him back up to commander, because all his thing is he didn't want Khalid to be worshipped like a god, because he wasn't one.
Right.
And so he wanted to be able to promote him eventually, but he died before he can do that. He's like, I regret that so much.
So you cried like a little baby back bitch?
Pretty much. And other people calmed him down. They're like, it's a good thing, he died naturally instead of ugly, gruesomely in a battle. Right. And his whole legacy thing would have just been torn down. So, yeah, that was
Do you know who Achilles is?
Yeah.
Do you think he could have beat him? Because apparently Achilles was the sun half god. He was a half god.
The demigod?
Yeah, he was a demigod. So that's where the phrase...
I was thinking about that. While I was doing my research on these two people, I was thinking, I'm like, Alexander the Great, Achilles, Leonidas, all these great leaders. I wonder what would happen if they all...
We should put them in a simulator. Is there a simulator we can...
There is a simulator.
Actual?
Yeah, I've seen it on TikTok sometimes. It's a simulator where... And I don't know the name of the simulator. You can run it on a PC. But this person does it. He gets requests, and some people say 1,000 dinosaurs.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but
it's
I'm sure...
AI generated. They're just going at it.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Deadliest Warrior?
Yes.
On Spike TV?
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh my God, I love Spike TV. Yeah. My mom never wanted me to watch it, but I always watched it because of Mansers, 1,000 Ways to Die, and
I remember
Deadliest Warrior.
In middle school, on first days of school, they would give you papers write your name, your favorite food. My favorite show would always be 1,000 Ways to Die.
Bro, just because I love that show.
I just liked watching it. But looking back at it, as a teacher standpoint, that's probably a red flag.
Yeah, if you didn't know about the show.
And I'm wondering why I was never are you okay? Is everything okay?
They didn't even check on you?
Never did. But looking back, and I'm like, that was probably not okay. I'd probably ask the kid, hey, are you okay, bro? So people probably putting fucking SpongeBob, I don't know, some stupid shit.
I remember, real quick, before we wrap it up, I remember this one episode of 1,000 Ways to Die where the girl, and I'll never forget it, she was fishing, she yanked too hard, she set the hook too hard, and it was a small fish, I forgot what kind it was, and it went directly into her mouth. And every time she pulled it out, the scales were tearing up the...
Like a catfish?
No, it wasn't a catfish, because catfish are slippery. This fish actually had scales, fish scales. And so whenever she tried to pull it out, I'm thinking it was what's a small fish?
Like a carp?
Maybe. So something small enough to fit in your mouth, not that big,
but that has... Why the fuck was her mouth that open?
Maybe she was screaming out of joy. I don't know, but in the show, it went in her mouth, and she would try to pull it out, but every time she did, what do you call it? The scales were tearing up her throat and her esophagus and everything until finally she suffocated.
That fucking sucks. Were those true? Do you know?
I think so.
Were they true?
I think so.
On some occurrence, it happened once somewhere.
I'm pretty sure. Another one that I remember real quick. Because it's funny. So this dude had he liked bigger girls. I'm like a bigger. I don't mean chubby. I mean like bigger. You know, like much bigger.
You're like the big bitches, huh?
He had this girl come over, and she was writing his face. I believe she was writing his face. I know she was covering his face some way, somehow. I don't know if it was with her breasts or she was on top or whatever.
Or with her coochie.
But homie suffocated.
You didn't give her a good old tap out?
I think he was, but like, I mean, you're not gonna.
She's like, oh, she wants more.
You're moving exactly. All that stuff's going on. You're not gonna think, and you can't hear him under everything, you know. And so she was enjoying herself up until like he stopped moving, and then she's like, what's going on? Like, this is weird.
Did he fall asleep?
She got off, and like homie's just dead.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I remember a lot of these.
I remember one Sky would eat poop. He would like eat poop, his own poop, and he died because he ate poop. And I was like,
so weird.
Why are you eating poop?
He kind of deserves it if he's eating poop. That's gross.
Anyway, that's cool.
That's our.
Some of the greatest words. There is a lot.
There is a lot, and obviously, I don't think we're doing them a whole lot of justice.
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't. But I think mine was the best. I think Wolverine was the best.
Yeah, that's
a little doggy's back. He always walks by.
Bulldog.
There's a little bulldog that walks by. He's so cute.
If y'all want to do your own research on these people, feel free. I mean, we said their names. So.
I think you should let us know which one you like the best. I think human Wolverine.
Wolverine's pretty cool. I think he's the scariest.
Ooh, you know what? I don't know. Sword God's kind of cool.
Oh, the
100 battles.
The Sword of God.
Sword of God.
That's
impressive. That's just straight impressive.
Yeah.
But then you got fucking Wolverine.
Because at that time, I mean, it was kind of similar to Wolverine. Like, you wouldn't... It was always head-to-head battles, you know? You're not...
Yeah. You're not shooting from afar like gun.
Yeah, exactly. You're... Me and you swinging
mano
on each other.
Mano.
Exactly. So that's pretty impressive. Even for that dude, especially no hands.
Look, Ma, no hands. Anyway, y'all let us know which ones you like. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode.
Yeah.
And...
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Peace.